Hello everyone, welcome for this new weekly community show, the last one of 2023. Can you imagine? The year is already closing, and what a year it has been, with ups and downs and a lot of new content. So we're not going to do a pure retrospective about everything that has been added in the game since this year, but this is going to be a special episode, because beside the patch, the last patch of the year that we are going to describe and explain, we will have a discussion with Drindin, our executive producer, but also several content creators, some that has been adventuring with us since the earliest days, before even the alpha truly started, and some have just joined the game like 3 days ago, something like that. So you will have different perspective from different players with different experience, different background, and a different approach of the game. It's going to be a very interesting talk, and I hope you are all going to be as excited as I am to discover those content creators in the discussion we are going to have with them. So, but first, what are we going to discuss today? What are the news related to the game itself? Well, we do have our last patch, obviously, and we have said it. This patch is not going to be as big as a regular patch because we are quite early into the months, but there is some content, there is some change, and some of those changes are premise to some other changes, some other much more important changes that we will bring to the game in January and in the rest of the year. So in future, after the holidays, you can expect a roadmap, you can expect some deep discussion about the future of the game and what we intend for the game, and like I say, some changes that should that should be a solution for different issue that we have right now. So it's going to be really exciting. I hope you're looking forward to it. But now let's focus on the patch of this month. So this month patch has come a week early for the holidays. While the content is a bit lighter than normal, there should be plenty of improvement for all to enjoy. Everyone here at Stormhaven Studio, thank you for an amazing 2023. And we can wait to show what we have in store for 2024. Tech. Fix some performance issue that was causing some frame rate slowdown in Ember Vein. So hopefully that will work for you. Do not hesitate to share your feedback. If you still feel that there's some hiccups with the performance, it should not be there. So if you have performance problem, unless you really have a potato computer, it should not be there. And even so, there might be some tweaking and some option to move in different way to make sure that the game runs well for you. So it's something we are working very tightly to. We are monitoring this. So if you have any problems, speak about it. Share with us. What is your setting? What is your computer? What are you doing? What are you experimenting? So we can fix it. Environment art. Fix a number of stuck spots through the world. Fix some collider issue in some dungeon room. Fix a hole in the wall in some dungeon rooms. Fix some visual issue with some wall mounted torch from displaying the incorrect emission map. Fixed NPC navigation issue in Grimstone Canyon, and updating the texture on Plate Grief to be a little less dirty. Interface. Fix an issue where full resist were showing as unknown in the combat log. Improved stat tooltip to better indicate which are percentage. The only one that are not percentage are haste, safe fall, hit, and positional. Added information to the riposte tooltip to indicate that it will reduce the damage bonus from heavy and critical hit. Auras can now be cancelled by clicking the skill. Previously, this could only be done by changing stance or hitting the hotkey associated with the skill. Okay, so now you can remove the buff, like in some other game it can happen. Design. So that's going to be a very important guy. Fixed the output type for level 50 augment. Fixed Timberwolves and Mountain Elk not going ashen. Remove negative from chitin and flute plate armor. So that's something that's going to be quite of a big deal. And as a precision, because this question has been asked during one of our Discord meeting, so we are just removing the negative from chitin and full plate armor. They do not have some extra stats, so it's very much this correction. Instead of having minus movement speed and stuff like that, that's being removed, so you just have a very, very solid and quite heavy armor. Adjusted rapiers to be a more typical one-hand weapon with unique positional and start weighting, preference for parry and riposte. Hungry Wolf are now stalkers. So stalkers is a new type of mob that are going to hunt you, even if you have not aggro that mob. That mob will sense you and will hunt you. Reduce stalking range on Snatch Scale Stalker and Hungry Wolves in Red Shore. So that's quite exciting. They're really going to stalk you guys. So be on your toes, like be cautious. Snatch Scale Stalker added to Red Shore Ridge. Reduce call for help range on Shriek. Improve loot distribution for Arcos and Vengeful Mangrove, so that you should be happy. Better loot, guys. Arcos Lair Earthquake effect can now trigger over provision, which is going to be probably very useful as well. Grizzle Peaks added more itemization, increased damage output and reduced the health on some 2 Sharon mobs, increased strength of boss Ethan. Berserker Alchemy 1 gut change to resist all damage type. Martial ability pressure now has a higher threat modifier. Juggernaut Alchemy 1 brace change to resist all damage type. Perforate now has a higher threat modifier. And Roar has a reduced range from 12 meter to 8 meter. To help with defender threat generation without relying on enrage effect at higher levels, we are increasing the shield threat modifier. Our goal here is to position shield and one-hander as a tank-oriented, Moles as DPS-oriented, and Polarm as a mix with higher damage but maintaining the threat boost that riposte provide. Shield threat modifier increase breakdown, level 30 plus 9%. 40 plus 22%, and level 50 plus 40%. Increase one Chevron experience rate by 20%. This is now up 40% from launch, so this is really a big thing. Well, it's going to be increased, but the favorite and the most efficient way to gain experience is still going in group, right? That's still going to be group, because our goal with the game, and that's the reason why we have created Embers Adrift, is to create a game where you group up with other player. For pure soloing, there's plenty of games that are excellent at doing it. Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft. All those games are brilliant, they're beautiful at solo play, and other things, but they're really good at solo play. With Embers Adrift, we want to create a game where you group up. But to be a good game where player can group up easily, we need to ensure that being a solo player is not absolutely horrible. Because when you cannot find a group, if the game is horrible, then you're going to log off. What we want is that you stay in the game until you find a group. So that's the strategy, and that's what we're going into, and the improvement we're bringing to the game step by step is for that philosophy. So we want players to stick around when they are soloing long enough to find a group. Because if they're not sticking up when they don't have a group immediately, they're going to log off, and eventually they're going to change game. And that's not what we want. Therefore, we want to smoothen the solo experience just enough for you to stick around, but not to make it the preferred route, not to make it the preferred way of playing the game. So that's what we're trying to do. All right. So increase the One Chevron experience rate by 20%. This is now up 40% from launch. And Alchemy 1 and 2 have had the Ember Essence cost halved. You were not expecting that one, have you? I repeat it, so I'm sure you understand well. Alchemy 1 and 2 have had their Ember Essence cost halved. Like, I knew this information that we have kept secrets will be like, there we go. Yes, so half the costs. So you still have the cooldown and you still need to farm Ember Essence, but you can use now twice as much alchemy than before. So please enjoy. You guys have been asking for a Christmas present. There it is. Merry Christmas, guys. So Carmel, I'm so happy you guys reduced the alchemy cost. I'm so happy that you are happy. Dara Greenbeard, I don't know what alchemy is, so I would be more excited if I knew what it was. Genra, it's a Christmas miracle. So I'm repeating it again. Alchemy 1 and 2 have had their Ember Essence cost halved. In other words, you can now use your alchemy abilities twice as much as before. Quest lore added a new quest, Making a Name for Yourself. Improve the text for some early quests to give a better indication of where the NPC is. So that's a feedback we have received from a player. I'm not sure which player it was, but it has been quite of a debate on Discord. And so we have decided to revise, so we have revisited some of those early quests to ensure that the quest itself was more clear, while still keeping our concept, which is you don't have a quest marker, you don't have a compass, and you don't have any indication on your map or anything like that. You need to make your brain function. So you need to read the text, you need to understand the text, you need to be cautious, and then you need to find a quest by yourself. But we wanted to be sure that it was clear enough, so you will understand where to go. Alright, new stuff. Shrieking Barrow, a new Ember Vein for those in their mid-30s, had been added to Grimstone Canyon. This Ember Vein supports solo, duo/trio, and full group content, so there's 3 different loops. It's the first Ember Vein with 3 different loops. The only other piece of content that has 3 different loops is actually Undercrofts in Middleland. So that's the direction we want to go, and probably in future some Ember Vein that has already been created will be revisited and improved over time. But that one is a fresh and new one, and there's 3 different loops. I've been in the solo loop myself for testing it. It's pretty fun, and that's how you saw this nice little interaction when I got my ass kicked by some shrieks. Yeah. So it's going to be challenging, even if you're a solo player, but you also have a loop with 2 chevrons, so ideal for duo and trio of players, and then you of course have the full group loop, which is quite challenging as well, and that includes Rat Nest, because yes, as you may have understood, this new Ember Vein have Shriek and Rats and Rat Nest. As you can see, Rat Nest, we are quite challenging. Next month, a little overview about next month. The back-end engine upgrade from Unity 2021 to Unity 2022 is mostly complete. I've built local client with a new version and do not see any significant performance regression. However, Switching the build machines over is another story in itself, but I hope to have this done before the end of the year. This means that the next QA patch should hopefully be on the new engine version, which will require a good deal of testing to make sure nothing major broke. Past the engine upgrade, we will be testing some radical change to certain elements of the game through January on QA. We should have more information regarding this in early January. So that's something I've been telling you about on Discord this morning and earlier at the beginning of the show. We are working on something big which should hopefully solve in one shot several issues. Hopefully, because nothing is certain. So stay tuned for more information related to that. And that's the end of the patch notes. All right, so everyone, here is our guest, our special guest. We will have a very nice little discussion with all those beautiful fellow content creator, and of course Drindin, Lore Master Drindin, our executive producer. So I going to do
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, so let's have a round and let's see by Alice. Alice, please, can you introduce yourself to the community? In case someone doesn't know you, which will be weird.
You gotta do me first.
Because you're
Hi
the
guys,
first.
I'm Alice. Playing Embers since 2017. I've seen it grow from its infancy all the way to what we have now.
Awesome, thank you. And where people can find you?
You can find me on Twitch and also YouTube.
Thank you so much, Alice. Let's go to Genera. Genera, please introduce yourself to the community.
Hey, this is Genera the Gray. This is Binks. He wanted to join the broadcast as well. He's a little mess. Been playing the game for over a year now, and just love being part of the community, and really excited about all I've seen over the last year, and also all the things that are to come. So I can be found on Twitch. I've got a lot of content there, and I stream a lot there. So hit me up if you have any questions or you need any help. I'll be happy to assist.
Thank you so much, Genera. And now let's go to Kindred. So Kindred, you just joined recently the community. So
that's the rumor.
So
yeah, I'm sort of the opposite of Alice, and where I've been in the game for I think about 30 hours sounds better. It's been like 2 days, right? But Genra's been a huge support to me, and man, I've had a blast. Call outs to Grimbeard and Drexen and Genra and Corinia and so many that I've already met. If you happen to run into Tramp in the game, I apologize ahead of time. He's a level 11 brigand, and I'm Kindred80 on Twitch. Thanks.
Thank you so much and welcome to the community. And I'm going directly to Old Man Painkiller. Can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Old Man Painkiller. I've been a part of the community since day one of live, off and on throughout the year. Mostly off. I had personal issues, but I came back just about a month or so before the 1 year anniversary, and I'm hoping to come back and play a little bit more, but personal work just got pretty busy. But this community is awesome. I've been streaming on Twitch for several years, and it wasn't until this game launched that I actually got some traction. So these guys are awesome. I hang out with Alice quite often. I've talked with Gendro a couple times. But I love this place. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, our executive producer, Drindin, can you introduce yourself to the community?
Sure. Thanks, Eloa. Yeah, I'm John, aka Drindin. Obviously been here for the long haul, and just really proud of the team and what we've been able to do here. And it's been a great first year of launch, and just looking forward to 2024 and bringing you guys new awesome stuff. So stay tuned, I guess.
Nice. So, now that we have done the little introduction, what I find really interesting into this group of content creator is that we have people that have a big experience of the game, some people that are just fresh and new, and so it will be a perfect occasion to speak about your impression about the game and why you like it. So why do you like Embers Adrift? And let's start by our little new guy here. So Kindred, start and say what is your first impression about the game.
Oh, yes, me. Yeah, so I was just telling the guys that I think that if you looked at the games that we played in the early 2000s, everyone knows EverQuest. And then the games we've liked, the games we've hated, the games we've enjoyed, and the games we've hoped for and have never come around. There's a path that crosses in all of that. And I think it's landed us here. And if I look at the number of Discord communities that I'm monitoring where they are, in their development and stuff with them, I think that all of us going like, I don't know anybody that plays EverQuest or played back in the day. Suddenly we do. Suddenly we're recognizing this community of people that are looking for the same things, that are looking for that immersion, community, having to type to people in games instead of necessarily being in Discord, which is so interesting because we also live in chat rooms at work. But and then I really felt like some of the systems were very well thought out, like positional, like where you're standing relative to someone. We all know that a rogue stands behind, right? I thought that was great. I know some people were distracted by in fact, some of my friends by low fantasy, but like it's not low fantasy, it's a mystery for me. And I dive into things pretty pretty aggressively, but Ginra and other people, and actually the world chat, people are so wanting to help you and show you and run over and show you where to go. And it is challenging. I love that there's no map, that you have to learn the world and pay attention as opposed to just staring at an arrow that takes you wherever. So you don't even pay attention to the world that's built around you. But the fact that I know there's a tower there, there's Bluepitter there, and okay, I think I'm heading the right way. It's been great. I could go on, but I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. So, what about you, Alice, which is our elder in terms of player?
What was the question? What do I love about Embers?
Yes.
Honestly, my favorite thing about Embers is you guys, the devs. I just really appreciate you guys and what you do and how dedicated you are and how much you love your community. I think that's one of the most unique things about Embers Adrift is the devs and how you communicate with the community and you care. And it's obvious. No other game out there has a team like you guys. So, thank you. But the game itself, and I've said it a million times, I love the navigation, the exploration, the feeling of wonder and mystery. I love the lore. I adore the combat style, the tactical sort of feel to it, having to strategize and position yourself and pay attention to there's so much nuance that it's hard to see from the outside looking in, but once you're in, you start to realize like, oh, there's a lot more to this than I thought. And the alchemy has really enhanced that, I think, for me anyways. I don't play all the classes yet, but that's been really good, finally getting the alchemy. We've been waiting so long. Next, we're getting factions, right?
Hopefully, maybe, possibly. Cannot spoil the roadmap yet. And you, Old Man Painkiller, what do you think about the game? What do you like about Embers Adrift?
I actually came into the game day one, like 4 hours before the game actually launched. A buddy of mine said, "Hey, check this out. It's like EverQuest, hard game, you're gonna be sitting there playing forever trying to get where you want to go. There's no map. You're gonna be lost. Enjoy it. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. I literally didn't even watch a trailer. Just he told me it was old school hardcore gaming, and I was like, I'm in. And I literally streamed it every day for about a month, just slightly under a month, and I just enjoyed all the exploration of this game, trying to figure out where I was going, losing my bag. That was so much fun. It wasn't until about 4 or 5 days later that I realized hey, there's a little icon at the top that says, "Hey, you bagged somewhere over that direction. Start wandering." I probably wandered around for 3 days one day trying to find the bag. The
Nice.
community is awesome here. I've never really had to go long without having someone give me an answer on anything. World chat usually has answers. At the beginning of the game, no one had answers. We were all trying to figure it out. It was just fun. I'm probably the person who's been around live the longest with the character, not even 20. I have my highest character is only 17. I mean, everyone else is way past me in levels, except for Kindred because he just started. But I've got probably close to 100, 150 hours in this game, and I want to come back and play more. I just gotta get the time in. Like, this is my only day off, and I chose to spend it with you guys. I won't have another real day off until after the New Year's.
Well,
Except
thank
for
you.
like, so yeah, just enjoy this community.
Thank you very much, Oldman Painkiller. What about you, Genra?
So I like Embers because it really does have a lot of options, no matter what. You can, if you can't find a group, you can either sit there and oh, I can't find a group, or you can find something to do and play with the hand you're dealt with. Like, go look for chests, go gather, go look for names, explore content, go work on your alchemy system, go work on your hunting log. So if you can't find a group, then just still find enjoyment in the game because it's there. I have certain things that I do, like I'll go to Highland Hills, I'll check for the King of Hearts, I'll check for another name, I'll run around for chest, I'll hit the EV and do some mining. And this is all just solo, waiting and shooting the stuff with the people in either Discord or the world chat or looking for group and find things to do. One of my characters, or two of my characters can't get any more experience, so experience is out the window, but yet I'm still playing with them because there's a progression system there. And there's options to do even though I'm max adventure level. So there's a lot there if you know where to look or you at least put an attempt to. But if you're just sitting in the New Haven city and moping about things about I can't get a group and that's it, well then go out there and do things that or look for things to do because they're there and they're enjoyable, at least to a lot of us. So I'll just say that. Love the development team. There's honestly been a couple times that I've wanted to quit along the way because I ran into the content wall. But, ready to quit at 30 and then boom, Grimstone Peaks comes out. Ready to quit at 40 and then boom, Highland Hills comes out. So all along the way, there's been some sort of a huge release where it's been filling that content gap. And I've purposely left some of my characters around 30 because I knew, like, for instance, this 30 EV was coming. And I wanted to experience that with my level 30 character. And I'm glad to see that all these content gaps are being filled. And then that's going to obviously keep people from quitting when they hit that wall and say, you know what, I'm tired of sitting in a static spawn and doing this. I need something fresh to do. The options are just increasing as time goes on. So, kudos to the development team for just filling those content gaps and making all the improvements along the way.
And that's perfect. Thank you so much, Genra. One of the big concerns of the community is related to the population and the solo ability of the game. It's something that comes back often. We see that often, maybe on Discord, forums, or in other social media. So, Drindin, what are we actively working on right now to alleviate those concerns?
Yeah, well, as you saw with the patch notes, the solo experience is getting boosted again. It's already been boosted before, but it's being boosted even further. There are a lot of things on. So, we've got a 2024 roadmap coming. We have been talking about it for the last several weeks, trying to get everyone's priorities in line and some sort of timeline framed around that stuff. But a lot of the stuff on the timeline is going to be stuff you can do either while you're looking for a group or solo. We obviously made the game for people to group up, go out there and experience some challenging content, overcome it together, and make some great memories with your new friends or old friends or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Alice keeps saying factions. It is on the list. So as far as the solo ability stuff, we want to give people more things to do solo, whether that's fishing or being able to solo mobs more effectively, whether that's introducing new types of itemization that help people, get upgrades for their characters and whatnot. There's a lot of different avenues to follow for that, all of which we're talking about and trying to figure out the best course of action. But yeah, I mean, mostly just the more stuff to do, I think, is good. I don't want to go into more detail than that, I don't think.
Yeah, we have already shown it with the solo loop or the duo loop we are adding to the Ember Vein. And I think that the best way to explain what our intention is that we want to maintain the group-focused style of our game. But if you are not finding a group immediately, we want you to stick around in the game by doing something like Genra was explaining. You can already do a bunch of stuff, but we want you to have more things to do while you're setting up for a group. And then we want also to develop more content for the smaller group, because a small group is still a group, right? You're still socializing and making friends. It doesn't have to always be a full group.
Yeah, and one of the other things too is we're trying to put content outside of those group areas, such as Ember Veins, for example, that you can solo while you're waiting for a group to go in there. So, you want to go into the ant EV. Well, there's one Chevron ants outside that you can solo and fight while you're waiting for other group mates to get there and stuff like that. So that being aside from solo, duo, and full group loops in the Ember Veins. And I think we're going to be going around to all the Ember Veins and getting these types of features inside of them as well. But yeah, bear with us on that.
I think this game brings something extra, though, in that some people are naturally very good at crafting and some things that, like, I'm very social. I don't think it's any surprise there, but I met Corinia, who is trying to get into CV. Is that Crystal Veins? Actually, no better at CV now. I feel really cool saying that. CV for 3 days, and I had been in there 3 times today. And I was like, I'm going to help you, because I'm going to talk to the world, talk to the zone, be goofy, get you into a group. But she knew a lot about her class, and she knew a lot about crafting. And at the end of the night, I needed to bump my hunting and forestry. I might have that wrong, but I'm pretty new. To level 12, and she gave me mats to refine to do that. So she may not have been as good as like putting a group together like we all did back in the day and had to do. And I know some people sigh at that, but she was very good at other things, and we were brought together for that reason. Now we're friends. You can't put a system in the game that creates that. You can only force people into that, and they'll thank you for it, even if they complain about it.
Yep.
Well said. Well said.
And this is one of those games that it sounds corny, but if anybody remembers, like the Choose Your Own Adventure books, you make your own adventure in this game. You go down in places you shouldn't. You go into a dungeon without a healer. You do a EV without a tank, and somehow, by the skin of your teeth, you come out of it. Gosh, I can't believe we got out of that mess. We were in Forgotten Depths 2. It was Marcus and Aluna. and it was one of the best fights we ever had. We're about to die, and Aluna rips off this duelist AE skill and reses three of us, and we won the fight. And it's like you look back on that and you're like, man, that was just such an amazing moment. And we created that moment by getting in trouble and then getting out of trouble. And it's kind of like a tale to tell. We'll be at the local pub. Remember that time when this happened? And you really do kind of create those memories in a game like this. You play with the hand you're dealt with, and that's what kind of makes it cooler sometimes when you get out of danger and survive. So I really like the fact that there's just so much variety in play styles and builds and stats to focus on, the different positional stats, and just all the things that the trouble you can get into, and then talk about the success or sometimes failures of getting out and at least getting your bag back. So you really do create your own story here.
Yeah, and this is exactly the type of thing when you have a game which is too streamlined or too well structured, so it might be very comfortable, but then you cannot really go out of that. You have to follow the route that the game has designed for you. And when you have a game more loose, yeah, it's not perfectly balanced and you have some more messy things, many messy aspects, but it gives you more freedom to overcome things differently, to be creative, and to have adventure. And that's what we want to create. We want to create a game with adventure, where you have memories, like Genrad just described.
Yeah, instead of like a highway with cement walls and everything, it's more of like a forest path that's kind of pruned a bit, but it's you can hop the fence and go off into the woods, and you can come back and get back on track or whatever.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
stay lost in those woods all the time.
So what you will say, Old Man Painkiller, are you good at exploring or are you not super skilled at exploring?
I like to say, don't hand the dwarf a map. I get lost all the time.
I can vouch for that. He does get lost.
Nice. That's one of the things I like to say, because we had got a lot of discussion also. This is also a discussion that come back often. Why don't we have a compass? And while we are ready to discuss and negotiate a lot of aspects of the game, our dear Blue Peter, Lord of the North, it's not something negotiable. But there's a reason for that. It's not just stupid stubbornness. In Embers Adrift is one of the few MMORPG. If you are a good explorer, you can actually use that skill and shine through it. And it's a specific skill, and not everyone is going to be good at exploring, and not everyone is good at not breaking the stun of the brigand either. So you have different people and you have different way of shining, and you can be an excellent tank or you can be a clumsy tank, but you are great at exploring and at leading your group. In the same way, social skill is also a skill, and some people, they may be very bad at fighting, but they are excellent at setting up a group. And so in Embers Adrift, you can be good at different things. You can be good at fighting and at knowing what your class is about, and at being good at, strategy and enemy killing and preserving your group. You can be good at exploring, at finding your way, at guiding your fellow players into the right places, and you can be group at socializing, at making a guild, at being friends with people, at knowing everyone on the server, and at setting up a group. And so you have different type of personality that can shine, and it's not just about the fighting.
I think a lot of the appeal for people is the community in the game. Sometimes they log on just to hang out with people, and they don't necessarily get a whole lot done in game. They just come and chat.
Yeah, getting groups killed. If
Spend a
you're
lot
running
of
around
time
with
just
Stumpy.
kind of standing around.
Yeah, Stumpy don't let people get killed. Stumpy gets killed. if you run around with my tank, you guys don't die. I do. You guys run. I stand on the ground and hold it.
Yeah, I would say chest hunting is highly underrated. I think it was yesterday I got a Poppy Smasher and a couple other really nice items from chest, and I was getting stacks of like level 40 pelts to increase my hunting, which we all know as if you're trying to get hunting to level 50, it's painstaking. But I was hitting chest and getting stacks of those pelts and finding nice drops. So it's just like playing the lottery. It's fun to kind of sneak around, grab a chest under the nose of some 4C, 4Chev and Grim or Grizzled Peaks, and get cool stuff. I mean, sometimes you get a junk chest, but it's just it's a gamble. But it's almost like a little mini game to run around and get chests. So highly recommend exploring, grabbing chests. It's a really good way to get not only regents, but kind of find a rare item. I know in Undercity Undercity, I always call it Undercity. Undercroft, I've seen a couple really nice hammers drop, like the Smith hammers from the chest there. So go around and explore and get those chests if you need something to do. There's you not only get good loot, but it just adds a whole another little mini game to everything that's out there.
Yeah, Undercroft is a really nice dungeon. Speaking of which, guys, and I know Kindred, you cannot really participate to that one talk, but what is your favorite dungeon, guys?
So, group-wise, I love Forgotten Depths. You've got, gosh, what? I don't even know how many. So many different mobs and variety of mobs. You've got different levels, different paths. You can really get turned around. I mean, anybody who has not experienced Forgotten Depths, I know there's one of the kind of concerns is that do all the dungeons kind of look like CV or CV2? Some of those turns and twists look the same. Once you hit dungeons like Flooded Ruins, which looks totally different, but Forgotten Depths is just from the ground up. It's nothing you've ever seen in the game before, and it is so big and vast, and there's probably 10 different mob types in there, and it ranges from, I guess, level 28 to 38 maybe. There's just so much to do, and it's a huge dungeon. It's almost like another game within this game. That dungeon's so big. So really excited for seeing the potential if that gets expanded to FD3, which I've heard may come. But outside of that, I do also love the solo loops like in Highland Hills. You can sit there and mine and get chests all day, and they've actually got single Chev named mobs in the Highland Hills EV. So really cool to be able to play solo, hunt for names, get regents, get Ember Essence, all in one solo loop. And it's really good to hear that sort of gameplay option is going to be expanded here soon.
Yeah, indeed.
I may not have a favorite dungeon, but I did run with one with Ginra yesterday, and I'm not even sure it was a dungeon Ginra, but it had spiders all over it. It's in Northreach.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the ground inside, guys, listen to this if you're not, the ground inside snares you. You've got webs on your feet. So the deeper you go in there, you're like, guys, we're not running out of here if we screw up this pull. That's awesome. 5% run speed on the roads. That's awesome. There's some very genius thinking here. So I don't, you're right. I can't wait to explore more dungeons, but that's really cool. I'm level 11.
Yeah, in that one, to just give you a little tease here, that's the spider entrance to Central Vein 2, which is another of those dungeons with 2 entrances. So it is like Central Vein 1, but much, much bigger.
Yeah, it's cool to have like a mini dungeon in a zone. If you think about like the Spider Wolf Cave, Meadowlands is huge, and you've got almost like an outside part inside dungeon within the zone where you don't go into another zone, but it's all part of the process of exploring in that southern region, working your way through and then making your way out, and you're still in the Meadowlands, but it's a dungeon in itself of another zone. So really kind of like that aspect of the game. And I think like if we think about Dryfoot, where there's Stronghold and then the fortress there, looking forward to see what may come of that fortress there, because that's always been a long running rumor or guessing game of what's going to come of that place.
Oh, nice. And you, Alice, what is your favorite dungeon?
Flooded Ruins, not Flooded Ruins. Gosh, why did I say Flooded Ruins? Forgotten Depths. I was reading
Flooded
the
Ruins is
chat
pretty
and
awesome,
Nathan's
too.
all Flooded Ruins, so... I have a love-hate relationship with Flooded Ruins.
Yes, same here. Same here.
It's got the
A
deep
little bit
rings
of,
though in it.
PTSD.
Well, it depends. There had been good moments and
Yeah,
horrible moments in
there
it.
is nice food in there.
Yeah. What about you, Old Man Painkiller? What dungeon have you discovered already?
I was in CV 1 and 2 back when it launched. I enjoyed them a lot. And I actually recently went to Aqueducts, which came out just before I ended up having to take time away
Mm-hmm.
with Al. And she ran me up and down that thing for about 2 or 3 hours. And I enjoyed that for a bit. But other than that, I've only done the first 3 dungeons that I'm aware of. I usually spend most of my time in exile camp, though.
Oh yeah, the exile. I personally really like Overworld Dungeon because I like the fresh air on my skin, or sort of. And so one of my favorite dungeon is Stronghold, actually, because it's a nice open world type of dungeon while not being underground. I really like the openness, and so that's one of my personal wish, is to have more dungeon like that, which are above ground instead of below ground.
I would have to go with Forgotten Depths as well. Lots of cool lore in there and more to come. And phase 3 of that dungeon is going to blow your guys' mind. Although I do love the Flooded Ruins as well. That one is, it's like, it's smaller. It's like get in, get out, kind of quick action, but it's super challenging. It's got interesting creatures, interesting loot. So yeah, I love that one too.
Yep, and a lot of background sometimes.
Well, you can't always avoid that, can we?
No, indeed. I'm going to jump in to answer a question from Carmel. You have posted a lot of questions, but I'm not going to answer all of them in this show. That means I'm not ignoring you, whoever. But that one, so the reason why the rat nest and the anthill do not have loot themselves. That's simply because it can, so when you have an anthill, the rats that can come out of it, no, when you have a rat nest, there's no ant coming out of it. When you have a rat nest, you have rat coming out of it. When you have a anthill, it's ant, but they are infinite. So if we were giving them loot to drop or experience to get, it will be exploitable. So you only have the loot in the nest itself or in the ant itself. Can you speak about that, Jundin?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of design issues that we need to think about as a team that might not be immediately apparent to the player. Oh, why can't we do this or that? It would be fun, but there are ripple effects that happen when you don't think about the full implications of certain design decisions. And that's one example of it. So, if you have an infinite source of XP coming out of a spawner, then you could just sit there forever and not go and experience the rest of the game and groups and all the cool loot out there. And, we want people to come together as a community, as groups, overcome challenges, overcome bosses, get exciting loot, get exciting, loot for your friends, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and also when you have something like that, people will feel forced to take the most efficient route and then be bored out of their mind because farming a ant hill forever, that must be extremely boring. All right, so what are your big hope for next year, guys? The first one to answer, the first one.
We already know what Alice's is, apparently.
Tell us more, Alice.
Factions.
Why that?
I want to interact more with the Rangers, the Circle, the Consortium, you know, I even have the far-fetched dream of being able to interact on a neutral status with like the Exiles or the Marauders and having different things like that, like maybe maybe I can gain some reputation with them and be able to find a exile trader in an area where they're not hostile or something like that, and like have different rewards for different factions. And maybe if I'm friends with the Circle, then the Consortium is like, we don't like you so much, or different stat perks for having reputation, or different special access to special gear or something. Like I want factions, and I want cool stuff to go with it.
Well, the nice part is that some of that groundwork has been laid with the hunting log. So I don't know where Undone is exactly on that, but it's definitely on our minds.
Which is nice is that Alice want to see more about the lore, while a lot of players want to see more about dungeons or stuff like that. So it's give work for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sold. I want factions too.
I really want to know more about the. I want to know more about the Vahirman, and what did they learn about the Eye of Ebax? Why did they look at it so much? Or did they worship it? Like, I want to know more. What's up with the Circle? How come they're pacifists? Like, that guy
100%.
in New Haven City's got the white fur stuff. I can't think of his name right now, but he's like right by the bank and the academy.
Drowan?
Like, he did a lot of adventuring. I want to know some stuff. Yeah, what did he do? Like, where's he been?
Oh, that's so cool.
I'll be honest. I'm a faction whore. I was a big one in EverQuest. I took my Iskar and got into every city by the time I was done playing. So yeah, I'd love to get some faction.
That's quite a feat.
I was gonna say, dang.
Did you swim in or something?
No, I made everybody happy. The hardest one was the Fiona Bay city. That was a pain in the butt.
Alice, you should just make lore stories or lore videos. You have a good voice for it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, thanks.
And you, Genra, what about you? What are you?
Videos. Oh, sorry. Go, Genra.
You're good. Yeah, I just want to see the game flourish and grow. There's a hell of a game here, and you've got people, for example, pledging hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but some people have pledged $1,000 to play games like Pantheon that aren't even out there, and they're looking for a game like this. You can basically get this game right now for what is it, $30 and no forced sub, and have a full MMO old school style, full content 1 to 50, and play it now in a fully polished product. And there's just this huge uproar around Pantheon about it's not released and all the changing graphics and everything. It's like, what are you people doing? Do you even know that this game exists and you could just hop in and play what you're screaming about this game that isn't even out? So I would love to just continue to spread the word, be positive, think about things before you post them. If you've got something, a suggestion, post it, but saying things like no pop. Okay, well, what do we do to fix that? And it sounds like there's plenty of things that are being done by the dev team to help out the population in this game. Just stay positive. There's a hell of a product here. Jump in, spread the word to your old friends in other games, and just keep the train going, keep the momentum going, because this game it's criminal that more people don't play this game. In all honesty, there's a hell of a product here, and we just need more people to understand that it's out there. Word of mouth is one of the best ways to get this out. So anybody that has played other games with other guilds and has that influence, bring them on board and let them try it, because I think once they do, they'll realize that, wow, I didn't even know this game existed all along, and I love it. It's what I've been looking for. I know that's the way I felt a year ago when I stumbled upon it on the YouTube rabbit hole on the right side. I was like, hey, what is this weird looking little quirky game? Put it in and hey, I'm gonna try it out, and started playing it, and stuck with it, and then that whole charm hit me, and I was like hooked. So it's not for everybody, and that's okay, but I think a lot of us that are here now today love this game for the reasons why a lot of people don't, and to me that's okay. Not everybody has the same likes and tastes and opinions, and that's fine. But I love this game, and I think a lot of you here obviously do, or you wouldn't be here. So let's just
I think there's people's fears, and I think there's their desires. And because of the disappointment since EverQuest, people come into the game with their fears. What class do I play? Is this going to disappoint my time? All those kinds of things. But you have an opportunity to rewrite that in people's heads. What they want was the original experience in EverQuest. And I think even if they didn't play it, it's something similar that will bring out that community of, let's face it, bald and gray, like everybody here, right? But when I first went into EverQuest, I went into Neriak as a Dark Elf Shadow Knight, and I stood there saying, help, 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 in text, help. I don't know what to do. And a level 54 warrior came around and showed me the newbie log. I still remember that. I can see the street in my head. And it is, you have to be a little courageous to want to build a game like that. But I think in time that people who look for the negativity but don't find it, they'll rewrite it in their head and it will become magnetic. But it's going to need the time to do that. And just a year in is a very small amount of time. Look, there's a lot of games out there. I think of Hunt Showdown. I think of Tarkov. I think of other ones that, even some of the big ones like Final Fantasy, look where they were a year in. Are you kidding me? And some of those are AAA studios.
Thank you for your kind word, guys. Drindin, I wanted to ask you a question about our plan for another free weekend next year. So we cannot say dates yet.
Another one?
Yeah, some people are asking that. Will we have another free weekend? Shall we need to wait the anniversary?
No. We're going to have one in February. How's that?
There you go, guys. Drindin dropped the bean in February. Sometime.
We'll have one in February.
We're not saying when in February. Maybe it will be for Valentine's Day.
Ooh, bring your love into the game.
Yeah.
Impress them with your knowledge of Ember's Drift. Show them the alluring rays of Blupiter and Core.
Oh,
For
yes.
April's 1st, can we put Blupiter in the south part of the sky?
That's a good one.
That's pretty good. That would be a very shocking April Fool's.
I already get lost enough. I don't need help.
Just for one day, April Fools.
April 1st, Blupiter is gone and there's a compass. No, Caramel, you're dreaming a little too strong here. Well, it will be a nice April Fool. You have a big compass instead of Blupiter in the sky that you cannot use anyway because it's in the sky fixed, but it's just there for you.
We were just talking about surnames, Christina. I'm not sure. There are a lot of other things, I think, ahead of that, but we do continually talk about that. So
I think so. We did change our cadence last year, and so it has been 1 year. We have been releasing a monthly patch instead of weekly patch, and it has helped us a lot to have some bigger patch and betterly tested, and to have something a little bit more consistent and consequent to share with the people. I think it was a very good move to have done that. What do you think, Drindin?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're working hard. We're working hard to keep improving things. There's a lot of interesting conversations now that we're at the end of 2023. A lot of interesting conversations going on internally right now. So I think 2024 is going to be a huge year for us. Not that 2023 wasn't. I mean, obviously it was. The game grew by leaps and bounds, but 2024 is going to see some really amazing things, some interesting ideas. I think I see someone mentioned, the early levels getting a little bit of a content pass. I think that's probably going to see the light of day as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this is something that we are doing really regularly. So a lot of the suggestion, even if you don't see them in game immediately, they are being discussed and considered, etc. Even the compass story that we are joking around a lot, because it's almost become a meme right now in the community. It's also something we have been discussing, and which is why we're pretty certain of the direction we are taking. But it's not because we are denying the implementation of a compass that we have not been discussing it internally and made a decision about it.
I just honestly want to say thank you to all the players, all the people in the community. This is as much your game as it is ours, and it's only where it's at today because of obviously the hard work of the devs, who are, like Nathan Napalm said, just superstars. But also, we couldn't have done it without the feedback and the persistence of all of you. So thank you so much for supporting us in 2023. We hope we'll see you more in 2024 as well, and you'll bring all your friends, and we can just have a grand old time together. So thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. So my friends, each of you, can you remind the viewers where they can find you and say a little bit of your content? Let's take the chance for promoting. That's one of my wish as a content creator myself, to really help every person that is creating content for Embrace Drift to have their work out there and to create bond with each other. If you're a content creator and you're not in our content creator group on Discord, please send me a message on Discord to be added to it, so we can prepare, we can plan collaboration, fun event, all that kind of things. And that's something I want to bring more in 2024. We already had some really cool streamer marathon event, and sometimes some of those little interviews that we have here, but I want to bring more of that in 2024, because that's how we build a really cool community. And you're putting the work there. It's nice that it's been seen.
I'm the chatty one, so I'll go. Kindred80 on Twitch. I'm a little tiny streamer, but thank you so much for everybody who stopped by this week. It's made me feel really special, and I honestly have enjoyed the game. Kindred80 on Twitch. You got to hit the notification bell and something else. I don't remember. Thanks.
Nice.
And I'm Genra the Grey on Twitch.
Thank you. Up to you, Alice.
I'm Alice Blue with a little underscore there on Twitch and also on YouTube.
Nice. And what about you, Old Man Painkiller?
I'm the odd man in the group. I'm Old Man Painkiller. I stream so irregularly, but I try to keep my schedule updated for you guys. I do expect to be doing some more content this upcoming year. And changes coming to my channel.
Nice. And guys, you can be already sure that we will be doing a fantastic streamer marathon for a free event in February. That will be a certainty. But maybe there will be other stuff before that, who knows?
Thanks, Eloa, for having us.
Of course, that's always my pleasure. Thank you guys for joining and for having this conversation. And to each and every one of you, I wish a wonderful holidays. May you spend some good time with your family and loved ones, or with yourself, because that's important too. May you rest, take care of yourself, take some good time, and let's have some fun in 2024 for a brilliant, beautiful, magnificent year.
Amen.
For sure. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. You guys take care.
Thanks for having us.
Happy holidays.
Of course.